Looking back at last week's race at Zandvoort,
Alif Hamilton came from P15 right the way up to P2 in the end.
A few incidents might have actually hindered us, but we still did our best.
My driver of the day really, I think, was Mika Häkkinen.
He came from right at the back to finish in P4.
I started from last, which was 28th position in race 2, but I managed to make 24 overtakes and finish 4th in that race 2 especially. It was one of my best performances.
It was great to see Inigo Anton get his first podium.
he really should have won, but he'll be happy walking away with a P3.
Knowing our game plan into race 2 was that just to keep up with Nakib, I had to tire manage a little. That's why I dropped down to 3rd.
Nakib Aslan go out with the tire puncture.
Sometimes in racing you have rubbing, and in this case he got the worst out of it.
Those I expected more from at Zandvoort. Josh Perwin.
A spin that resulted in him spinning out, falling all the way down the order.
In race 2 on lap 1, I had a black screen going down one of the straights, and I couldn't really see my screen, and that ended up ruining my race.
We saw Ayman Hakim really being in contention for P1. Ultimately, he spun on his own accord.
Pretty much eventful for me, getting another podium, although a little bit disappointed not to get a win.
Tonight, we're going to be racing in Hungary on the Hungaroring.
There's more opportunities to overtake.
Hungary is a track that I don't really know.
It will be tough to overtake.
Finding the right setup.
Avoid getting a puncture.
Push as hard as I can.
Just try to head out to the metro.
Hopefully Hungaroring is a bit better for me.
I think this is where drivers like Mika Häkkinen can come back.
But if he can continue that form into Hungary, then he could win the race too.
Hello and welcome to Season 1 of the E1 Championship. We're here for Round 7 at Hungary. We're racing on the Hungaroring. I am very excited. My name is Daniel Woodruff. I'm your host for tonight, and with me is Alex Jung, our race director for the E1 Championship. And with us, as always, in the commentary box, we have Des Corkill, and alongside him, making his return, we have Amir Amo Hazik. Welcome, gentlemen. Now, don't forget, you can catch all of the action live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. on the EGG network. But also don't forget that you can follow us for all the behind-the-scenes action on our Facebook pages, on the EGG network, or on the E1 Championship. So make sure you do follow us. Now, we have 2 rounds left, including tonight. And last week, we were at the incredibly exciting Zandvoort circuit. Very, very difficult to overtake on, but we saw lots of action nonetheless. Let's go and take a look at some of the highlights and the overall results from last week.
Where off, Alif gets off to a decent start. Tadashi goes around the outside of Alif, and Tadashi is the man who has got the lead.
So he used the DRS, a good thing, and he managed to get back into the front.
Family Rakhmat 3, Presley Martono 4. It is another victory for Alif Hamilton. There is a turn up for the books, and we are on board with Nakib Aslan.
Looks like Inigo Anton's getting super close at the moment. Muhammad Ali from Singapore back up to 7th position, so he's making his move.
Just about now. Once again, he's able to do it. As they come into the last lap, Alif Hamilton uses the DRS, eases his way into P2. The race winner of race number 2 in Zandvoort is Nakib Aslan from Malaysia. Alif Hamilton, the man leading the way though, fastest in qualification. He would win the first race as well, but good performance from Tadashi, second fastest in qualification, second in race 2. But Nakib Aslan made amends for a disastrous race 1 to pick up the victory in race number 2. However, Alif increases his lead at the top of the overall standings with a 50-point weekend out of a possible 55. Prodigious work again from Alif Hamilton.
That's right, and it wasn't a bad showing at all from Alif Hamilton. And going through those highlights, Alex, and the league table there, I think the unavoidable highlight that we do have to bring attention to is Alif Hamilton and his 6th win of the championship. Does he have enough to run away with the championship now?
So 6 wins out of 12 races, that's 50%. That's a really good stat. And that's why he's leading the leading this championship, shall we say. It is the World Championship for E1, and that is. So It is going to be hard for Nakib to close the gap. I think, you know, Nakib's under a lot of pressure. Only 2 more rounds to go, 4 more races to go. You know, Nakib did really good in round 5, didn't he? He almost got maximum points in that round. But then Alif hit back in round 6, and that's what he always does so well. And he's going to be very hard to beat.
That's right. Alif Hamilton wasn't the only driver that had a very good round 6. Des, looking at the results, we also saw Inigo Anton and Fadli Rahmat make an extremely strong performance with their debut podium finishes in Race 1 and Race 2. Do you reckon that these underdogs will keep up that momentum going into the last 2 rounds?
You know what, I'm glad you picked those out, Dan, because Inigo and Fadli, they are in a great battle for the lower level. So there's cash prizes 1 through 5. 5,000 for number 1. We've kind of almost given it to Alif, but the rest, it is wide open. And Fadli is really in form. Look out for the Indonesian. Look out for the Filipino as well, because there's money and cash available.
Yep, that's right. There is a $15,000 US cash prize pool for the drivers to fight for, and the battle is heating up in the midfield. And that meant that we saw a lot of overtaking up and down the order in the last round in Zandvoort. But because the track's difficult, it meant that we also saw a couple of spins. Let's go and take a look at the highlights from some of those spinny moments.
Aslan is down in P10 from P3, and Nabil has also spun out as well. He's in P11, going twice.
Not around Zandvoort, I would have felt. Oh, he goes wide then, he's off. Oh, disaster for Josh. It's just all going wrong for him.
Unable to do anything there as Alistair spins off. Experienced enough to defend. Tadashi spins. Loses 1, 2, 3 places.
Zandvoort is difficult, and that highlight just proved it. But that highlight also showed us a little bit of a difficult round for the Green Army, Alex. I mean, we saw them come away dominating the entire podium in the round prior, in round 5. But then it just all seemed to fall apart for them. So is Nakib Aslan going to still be thinking about winning that championship?
It's going to be close, isn't it? Well, actually, it's not looking close at the moment. But what I'm saying is going to be close is it's really under the pressure for Nakib. It's going to be tough, I think, but it really all matters today. Because today, I know we have double points in round 8, but I think it's almost a psychological battle. So Nakib really needs to have a good weekend, or good night tonight, to try and put some pressure on Alif for round 8.
Definitely a psychological battle. There's psychological warfare happening up and down the order. One of the drivers was, of course, Mika Hakimi, who fought all the way from the back, dead last, fought his way all up to 4th, almost on the podium position. And he was just one of many examples of some fantastic overtakes that we saw at Zandvoort. Let's go and take a look at some more of those highlights.
Tadashi goes around the outside of Alif, and Tadashi is the man who has got the lead. Alif is up to P9.
Just overtook one of the Z Challenger cars. Muhammad Ali from Singapore back up to 7th position.
Hamilton, who won race number 1 and looks down the inside.
Miko just makes it easy, lets Alif go through, but then Miko comes back at him.
Wow. Once again, he's able to do it. Alif Hamilton eases his way into P2. Behind them, Mika Hakimi, I can tell you, has got himself into P4.
Now, I've said time and time again that Zandvoort is super hard to overtake on, borderline impossible, and that was my impression going into it. But Alex, Mika Hakimi just seemed to prove me completely wrong.
Yeah, well, Mika, it's kind of sometimes we wonder which Mika's going to turn up, don't we? Because we know how quick he can be. And now from that race we saw, we got a great example of how well he can race as well. So he had some very good aggressive overtaking, and you saw how tricky Zandvoort was. And despite it being tricky, he made the moves right, and he didn't end up in the fence. So great job.
So some up and down performances from all of our drivers, and that means that they are one step closer to deciding which rounds they will be dropping from the championship. So as a reminder, all of our drivers get to drop 1 round after the 7 rounds, going into the grand finale, which is of course next week for round 8, which will help them determine where they stand in that championship. Des, very, very quick one. What are your predictions for which round some of the drivers will be dropping?
Well, the round they drop will obviously be the lowest, but that is a problem for all of the racers apart from Alif Hamilton, because they've all had one bad round. What it means, they're coming here into this circuit, the Hungaroring, they cannot afford another bad week, because that could jeopardize their chances of picking up a lot of cash.
That's right. All of our drivers have had 1 or 2 rounds that have been under their expectations. Des, why don't you walk us through the points that our drivers have achieved at every single round from round 1 through to round 6?
Well, the season kicked off with Mohammed Alif Hamilton, a debutant in this series for us, picking up maximum points in round 1, and that set the standard for the rest of the season. Mohammed Ibrahim in P2, Tasbih in P3, now no longer in the championship. Naki picking up 29 points in week number 2, but look at that, Alif again, another 46 points to top that particular round. And then Naki picked up 52 out of possible 55. Wonderful performance by Naqib Aslan. It gave us the feeling that maybe he could get back into the championship. Then Alif goes, nope, 52 for me as well. That puts everyone in their place. So we've got to look a little bit further down to see who's making a move. Josh Berwin picking up 23 points after a season's best 40 in round 3. He moved up into P4 with the 23 points in round 5. And in round 6, well, it was Alif once again leading the way, but Naqib with 28, Ayman Tadashi with 25, and a 20-pointer for Jason Tay means that other than top spot, this is wide open.
That's right, Des. It looks like Alif has a bit of a lead to run away with it, some would say, but not all hope is lost, of course, because we do have double points in store for us in the last round, and as we saw in Season 0, anything can happen. But looking back at that league table, further down the order, away from first, Alex, we can start to see some obvious rounds that some of our drivers will be dropping. I think the first one that comes to mind is Josh Perwin in 4th place. He's definitely going to drop round 1. We've got Jason Tay definitely going to drop round 1 as well, where he collected 0 points. Miko Nasi definitely dropping 1 round as well, round 3.
Yeah, exactly, and just carry on with your thoughts. Naqib Aslan, round 4 with only 3 points there, he'll drop that round. And as Des pointed out, Alif has been so consistent. His worst round is round 5, and that's 23 points. So he'll have to drop that round, but that just shows why he's at the top, so consistent.
I haven't done the maths, but if Alif doesn't finish both races in the next round, in round 8, Naqib could still theoretically just win the championship. Yeah,
because of the double points, it's pretty much impossible for Alif to sew up the title now. And of course, even with this big lap, I mean, you consider the drop points there, it's actually about 60 points between Naqib and Alif. But you know, that's something like, gosh, there's over 100 points available in round 8, so it's still going to go to the last round.
Yep, and later on in the show, we will show you a graphic of that league table. We will show you which rounds exactly that our drivers will be dropping and how that affects the overall championship. Now, looking forward to tonight, we are racing in Hungary on the Hungaroring, and that's a track that many of you may be familiar with if you do watch Formula 1. And we're going to give you a bit of a deep dive into the track, but first, let's go and take a look at the championship rules and formats. So here is a snapshot of the 8 races that we will be visiting this season. We are at Hungary tonight, just before we head to the grand finale in the Nürburgring in Germany.
And here we are at Hungary, as we just mentioned. It is a tough track to overtake, just like Zandvoort. But unlike Zandvoort, it's a modern Formula 1 track, so it's a lot wider, a lot more open spaces. You're not going to hit the barrier really here unless you do something majorly wrong. So you can mug someone at a couple spots, turn 2, turn 4, maybe even potentially turn 12. But the main overtaking area is going to be between turn 1, really, down DRS. Got 3 tires available, soft, medium, and hard. And because there are so many corners, 14 corners to this short track, tire wear is going to be high, and I think the hard tire will get used a lot.
We have our usual race format for tonight's event. We've got a 5-minute qualifying, which will determine the driver's starting positions in our 15-minute sprint race for race 1, and a longer 30-minute race 2, which has a reverse grid. And of course, as we get towards the end of the season, drivers will be even more particular with the points that they get. That is the name of the game, and the more points they collect, whether it be in qualifying the races or by getting the fastest lap, they are one step closer to winning that championship.
And then we'll be talking about drop points or show, and here's a good example. You always drop the lowest score, so in this graphic here, round 6, where you only score 6 points, that will be the round you drop.
A lot of strategy coming into play, and all of that accumulating to this, the grand prize, $15,000 US cash prize pool, all up for grabs. You can see the impact that one position change in the overall championship makes can make the difference between 4,000 and 2,000 US dollars. So the fight is definitely going to be heating up. All right, we've got lots of overtaking, I'm sure, a lot of action coming your way very, very soon at the Hungaroring. But first, a very short commercial break before we head to qualifying. Hello and welcome back. We've got qualifying for round 7 happening very soon. But before we get to that, Alex and Des, please walk us through our driver lineup for tonight.
Okay, well, we have to start with the champions from Season 0, and that's Stratos Motorsports in car number 1 and number 2. And it's a brother pairing. Naqib Aslan, Season 0's champion, he's paired up with his brother, Mohammed Nabil Aslan.
Team Safe House up next. Miko Nasi is in the race for a top 5 finish at the end of the season. Arwin Tarunya is fast enough to be a real spoiler in the last 2 rounds of this campaign.
And then we have RSG, all Malaysian lineup. Ayman Hakim in car number 5, with Mika Hakami, the star of the previous round, in car number 6.
I think many of us were expecting more out of Troy Ayman and Arif Azmi, the 2 teenagers from Malaysia. They've got themselves in the points, but not enough podiums to be challenging for the top.
And then next up, we have GT Radio Eurasia, the All Philippines team. Inigo Anton, who we've seen have many pole positions before in the past, but has not yet won a race, could today be the first day. And he's paired up with his teammate, Joaquin Garrido.
Kalen Chin from Black Wolf Racing is very much in the race for cash prizes, 5th at the moment with 1 win and 1 P3. Daniel Rain Oy will be doing his very best to push Kalen over the line.
And then we have the Brunei-based team, I1 Racing. Benjamin Seek from New Zealand, he's age 31, and Lance Lau from Brunei, age 37. They're running cars number 17 and 18.
One of the most improved teams are from Indonesia, JMX Phantom, Presley Martono, currently 65 points, 14th position. Fadli Rahmat in a rich vein of form. He's had top 5 finishes in each of the last 2 rounds.
And then we have Black Arts Racing, very, very successful real-life racing team, won many championships around the world. And of course, we've got Josh Powen from Australia in car number 25, and Alistair Young from Malaysia in car 26.
It's been an encouraging debut season for Z Challenger, Jack Din Chung from Hong Kong, 23 years of age, Jay Yang from Taiwan. They've picked up points consistently throughout the season, though they won't be challenging for the top 10.
And then we have Team Flash, the Singapore-based team in cars number 29 and 30. And in car 29, you've got R. Muhammad Alif, who is leading the championship. He's number 1 at the moment by a long way, and he's paired with Jason Tay, also from Singapore.
From Vietnam, the Saigon United Motorsports teams. Long has picked up points this season. The rookie Hui hasn't, but both have shown improvement throughout the campaign.
And then we have the celebrity duo, EGG Network, Whelan Choi, very funny man indeed, in car number 23. And of course, the Drift Queen, Leona Chin, one of the most versatile drivers from Malaysia, in car 24.
And the guys who have to qualify each week, Ayman Haziq from Malaysia, 22 years of age, has accumulated over 50 points. Jin Mazvilton, he has got a chance to be a spoiler here. The Singaporean is seriously quick.
All right, and that was a look at our seriously quick driver lineup for tonight. Our drivers are in practice at the moment. It's only a couple more minutes before we head to qualifying. Alex, we saw at Zandvoort that qualifying was really important because it's a super hard track to overtake on. We saw in race 1, all the drivers in the top 5 finished where the top 5 qualified. But moving to Hungary, the track's wider. There's longer straights, or not longer straights, but it's just wider, more runoff. Are we going to see more overtaking? Is quali as important?
Quali is as important for sure in this track because it is difficult to overtake. But you can mug people. If you're quite clever with how you approach some of these corners, you can dive down the inside of people. So we will see a bit more overtaking than we saw at Zandvoort.
Zandvoort also saw a lot of tire wear, and I think that's something that you mentioned earlier on, where there's some similarities between the 2 tracks. So we've got ×2 tire wear tonight. What kind of strategies would you be looking at?
So ×2, we also saw ×2 at Zandvoort, so we're going to see some very similar strategies. I think I think we saw in Zandvoort, they actually used the softs, one stop with softs. So times 2 tire wear is not so bad. Sometimes we've had times 4, and then you just have teams having to do 2 stops in a 30-minute race. But in the 15-minute race, obviously, you don't need to do a stop. I think it'll be a bit risky to use the soft tires for the full 15 minutes race, and I think you might see them try and use the hard or the medium tires for that race.
All right, I think we're going to have the qualifying window pop up in just a minute, but maybe before we get to that, let's talk about qualifying predictions. Now, Alex, I know you don't like this question, so I might ping this over to Des. Des, what are your thoughts? Predictions for qualifying. What's your top 3?
Well, I'm really looking at some of the guys who are in the 7th, 8th, 9th region in the overall championship standings to make a mark. Alif is kind of so far away from everyone else. But the likes of Tadashi, Perwin, Kalen Chin, Jason Tay, they've all got to make a statement today. But my pick for today, Mika Hakimi, to carry on his great work. He's not in the top 10, but he's in such good form. Look out for Mika once again.
I think that's a very good prediction, Des. Amir, going into a race like this, now you are an e-racer, you've taken part in many championships. Coming into it, knowing that you have the championship on the line, knowing that the leader might have a little bit of a gap, coming into round 7, would you play with any experimental tire strategies, like we've seen Stratos Motorsports do in the past, or will you go really conservative and try something like a soft?
Well, I think we just go aggressive, to be honest, if I was to be in Naki's position, because right now, there's everything on the line here. We just need to make up points to Alif, who's almost 100 points ahead. So yeah, it's crucial that the strategy they get right. So for example, like Stratos, they have known to make those kind of left field strategy moves, so we can actually see them do that. And Naki might actually just get it on the line here today.
All right, thank you for your insights, Amir. I'm going to hand it over to you. And Des, qualifying has just started, we will hand it over to you.
Actually, we won't just now because the server jumped to qualifying a bit early. It's too early, so we're going to have to restart the server with just a bit of practice before going to qualifying. Small issue with the server. We will restart now to let the teams all join in, and then we will start qualifying. So we'll go in a few minutes.
So before that, Alex, you said that qualifying is important, and it is for many reasons, right? I think at this stage in the championship, we saw earlier on in the graphics, drivers do get points for qualifying. And when you're battling for a position between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, even up to 10th in the championship, as we saw on that league table, how close it is. 1 point will make a difference between an extra $1,000 or $1,000 lost. So coming into this, let's assume that a driver doesn't have a good qualifying session. What can they do on the Hungaroring to redeem themselves?
Do what Mika Hakimi did in the previous race. Just go from last all the way up to 4th. You have to be aggressive. In these cars, damage is full. So if you hit someone too hard, you risk getting a puncture, breaking a nose, breaking suspension, and you can be out of the race. So we quite often have cars not finishing. So, but all these drivers, they understand the cars now. They know the games. They really know how hard they can lean on each other. And I just want to talk a bit about driving standards as well, because we do allow rubbing. Rubbing is racing. But if we see someone crash into someone where he moves someone off a line, you're going to get a penalty. So you're allowed a little bit of touching, but not too much. And we have proper MEM stewards here to judge them and make sure that doesn't happen.
That's right. We've got some of the best drivers in the region, both in real racing and in virtual racing, coming together to battle it out. And racecraft is something that we talk about a lot, and I would say that one of the drivers with the best racecraft, particularly because of extensive racing experience, is Mikko Nasi. But he's kind of had a roller coaster last few rounds, hasn't he, Alex? I mean, in the last round in particular, he wasn't really up there at all, and that was a technical track like Zandvoort that I personally would have felt like his technical driving style really would have flourished on.
Yeah, I think it has been an issue. He's been up and down so much, so he needs to find the consistency. But that whole team came together a bit late just before the start, so it's going to be a bit difficult for him to try and make that. But we know when he's on form, he's going to win races.
That's right, and we may see him on form. I believe we have had a couple instances of the commentator's curse, or the opposite of the commentator's curse, where I have said in the past, Mikko Nasi needs to do better, Mika Hakimi needs to do better, and then we get to the next round and they have done better. So I'm sure we will see a repeat of that performance tonight, particularly when the drivers get into qualifying, know how important it is. We have weeks between each of the races, and the drivers put in hours and hours and hours of work. And you were saying last episode, Mika Hakimi in particular, he puts in 40-hour weeks practicing. And that really does show in events like qualifying, because it ultimately comes down to just a single lap, right? They have 2 or 3 laps where the tire works in that optimal zone. Anything more than that, the tires hit that cliff, you burn more of that rubber, and you can drive like Ayrton Senna, you can drive like Lewis Hamilton, but the tire's not going to work in your favor and you won't make it in the top 5. But drivers like Mika Hakimi, we know they put in the hours, and I think this is their time to shine. We've seen JMX Phantom as well, Fadli Rahman, he's putting in the hours.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing about esports, and that's what I like about esports. It's a real equal for everyone. If they can put in the hours, they do very well. So it's very important that the drivers do put in these hours. Like you say, a lot of them do put in about 40-hour weeks. In fact, we'll talk to Amo about it later. I mean, Amo he's a proper sim racer, a very successful sim racer. And he's put in those sort of hours where you just non-stop on the game, just trying to get the perfect lap, and then having to redo it all again and try different tire compounds, different car setups. So it's a lot of time you have to do.
Well, I do apologize for the delay heading into qualifying. Oh, and of course, there we go. The opposite of the commentator's curse happening once again. We'll just let this hover on our screens a little bit more. And I think we are green. Des and Amo, I'm going to hand the honors over to you to walk us through the action in qualifying.
And straight away, Amo, I'm going to get on board with Kalen Chin. Kalen Chin, at the moment, is the fastest at 1:15.227. But you were saying before, perhaps the 1:14 is possible for this qualification.
Yeah, indeed, because the fact that the actual F1 cars that did the race here back in 2017 were around the 14th in qualifying, courtesy of Sebastian Vettel. So it is possible that Kalen might actually go faster because of the setup that he is using around this track.
At the moment, he's a 1:15.227, which is 4/10 quicker than Inigo Anton and Jason Tay. Now, we joined qualification late. There's only 2.5 minutes remaining. Fascinatingly, Nakib is P6 at the moment, but I haven't seen a time for Mohammed Alif Hamilton. We've got to go to him, but look at this, Amo. He's slow. He's off the pace a little bit. 0.2 off the pace through 2 sectors.
Yeah, I think the balance is actually hurting him slightly and probably didn't have the setup. And look at that. Coming across the line, only P10. So he's going to have to actually buck it up here if he wants to actually stand a chance of winning the championship here, theoretically, because we still have double points, of course, but he just wants to actually have that buffer coming into the final round.
Kalen's gone a little bit quicker, a 1:15.0. That's 2 quick laps from the young Kalen Chin. Currently 5th in the championship standings. He's come good of late at the moment in P1. Let's move away onto Inigo Anton, another who's been pretty quick recent times. Currently P2, a 1:15.3 first lap, Amo.
Now, that's a very good lap, actually, because 3/10 off Kalen at the moment. He's coming through the first sector now. Only 900ths off this time, so it's looking like a good lap here. Oh, nearly spoke too soon there. He went full Tokyo drift coming out of turn 5 there, and he's actually restarted the lap.
Jason Tay currently in P3. Nakib Aslan out of the top 5. Nakib, if he holds any hopes of winning this championship, has got to be just about perfect this weekend. At the moment, no points for qualification. Let's see how quick he is here.
It's P3.
P3, it's better, but not good enough. Kalen Chin, Inigo Anton, Nakib Aslan. How about Alif Hamilton once again? Alif currently in P10, but slow going through there. That ballast really is counting against him at the moment.
Well, he improved to 8th place there, and the fact that he does have any more time to actually improve in that time, so he'll start this race with no points in P8, while Nakib will start 3rd with 3 points on the board now.
Presley Martono got himself up into P4. There is just a little bit of time going out, but Presley Martono, again, very quick from the JMX Phantom team. Kalen Chin, though, on pole. Inigo Anton will join him on the front row of the grid. Nakib, Presley, and Jason Tay completing the point scorers. I believe Alex Young will have Kalen Chin ready just to get a quick reaction.
Yeah, we'll have to try and speak to Kalen Chin at the moment. Here we go, Black Wolf Racing with pole position, Kalen Chin. What a good job. How did that happen? You just looked super hooked up just now.
Well, I mean, I practiced like all day today and yesterday to get this. I mean, to be 2.5 tenths quicker than everyone else is... I'm happy with that, but I mean, it's halfway done. I mean, pole position, that's 5 points, and so we can see if we could get the win.
Was that a perfect lap?
Yeah.
It
that
really was
a perfect lap. Yes,
wow,
definitely.
so you'd be proud of that. I mean, you've been improving throughout the season. You know, you took your first win a couple rounds ago, and now pole position. Well, what's happened? What's changed?
I think it's just my mentality. I've just been focusing a lot more than I have been since the start of the season, and it's paid off. I mean, I've worked probably a lot of hours putting into this, and it's paying off, which I'm really happy about.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks very much, Kalen Chin, our youngest competitor, 14. So good luck in the race.
Thank you.
That's good to see. Coming off the bat of one of his first ever wins in the E1 Championship, now he's on pole position once again. So he said he put in a lot of hours, which means that he as a driver is really understanding how this track works, but it means that he also knows what kind of setup works best on the Hungaroring. Alex, why don't you walk us through your recommended setups for Hungary?
Okay, so, you know, there are a lot of curbs here, so you tend to run the car very soft. You need maximum downforce. So I think with the E1 cars, they run full downforce at the front, and then they just balance it out on the rear wing. But I think maybe the rear wing's maybe 6 or 8 holes less than full. Gearing is very short. You only got one medium sort of straight. I wouldn't even say it's a long straight from into turn 1. So yeah, but there are a lot of curbs, and you have to use those curbs. And you can't have a car that's too oversteery here, because there are a lot of corners, like you see the red dot going around like turn 5, you saw Indigo Anton getting sideways. You do need good traction out of those long, slow corners as well. So really a forgiving car. And like Monaco, we heard Amo talk about Monaco and Hungary being similar. You do need a lot of confidence around here, and you got to let yourself get into the flow of the track. That's why it's been so impressive to see Kalen get that pole position. And like you said, it was a perfect lap.
Well, confidence is something that Kalen Chin definitely has worked on in the latter half of this season, and he's going to be carrying that forward to race 1, which will be starting any moment now. This is our 15-minute sprint race, and for that action, I'm going to hand it over to the commentary box with Des and Amo.
Thanks very much, Daniel. Alex, a very youthful-looking Alex in the best setup there. It's got to be said, he's aged dramatically in the last 12 months. Amo, your thoughts ahead of this one? Kalen Chin, he's coming good. He's always been quick, now adding just a little bit of consistency.
Very interesting, actually, because it's also his first pole position of the season as well. So that can actually set him out quite well. Yes, he got pole position last time out in, a couple rounds ago in Aragon, where he went on the way to win. But this time it's a proper pole position, and he could actually try to build on that momentum to go into the championship stakes in the final round after this.
The drivers are just in a little bit of a warm-up session at the moment, where we got a look there. Jay Yang and Long from Vietnam. They're not likely to be in the reckoning for picking up points, but I tell you what, the race for 3, 4, and 5 is fascinating. Alif, let's assume Alif has a good round. There's still $4,000, $3,000, $2,000, $1,000 up for grabs. You're a racer. That's motivation.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, I still remember one of the tournaments that Alex hosted here a couple of years ago. When I was in 5th place at that championship, I knew that I could get 1,000 more ringgit every position I gained. So that is a good motivator. And with the stakes so high with $1,000 each, they're going to go even more for it after this. And for Kalen and Josh in particular, they tried to chase after Ayman for 3rd place. That's even bigger incentive.
How about the likes, once again, Presley Martono. I've been waxing lyrical about the JMX Phantom team for quite a while, and Presley Martono's got himself more points in qualification again. He's seriously quick, this fella.
Yeah, 2 4th places in a row. That's a top 5 for the 2 race rounds that he had so far. That's good, and it's going to build his confidence up even more. But as we go into the race then, it's going to be the qualifying form out of the window. He's going to have to improve his race form too if he wants to actually challenge for the top 10.
We are underway now in race number 1, and we are on board here with Inigo Anton, as Nakib Aslan has got past Inigo Anton. So Nakib is in P2. Great start from Kalen Chin though. The pole sitter has managed to hold on.
Yeah, and in fact, unfortunately, we have no graphics at the moment to show us what's going on, but the race is going on right now, and a particularly good start for Kalen. The rest of the field has actually gone through safely. We had no major incidents up at the front and in the midfield.
Kalen Chin is still leading the way. Nakib Aslan in P2. Inigo Anton in 3. Jason Tay. We don't talk about Jason Tay too often, do we? He's from the Flash team. He's Alif's teammate, and he's just leading Alif Hamilton. Jason Tay looks back. Alif has got himself into P5 already.
Yeah, that's a very good start from 8th place, and he's probably going to be given team orders right now from the Flash team to let Alif by, because it's crucial right now that Alif will try to actually catch out to Nakib in early doors here.
There is Jason Tay, looking backwards there, looking forwards. There he is in the orange livery in the Flash car, trying to get on the inside of Inigo Anton. Inigo not able to really look after his space there. As we come at the end of lap 1, again without graphics, I'm afraid, Kalen Chin puts in a 1:22.382 on lap number 1, ahead of Nakib Aslan. Inigo Anton looking forward from Inigo. The gap between the top 2 and Inigo Anton, who's now dropped down to P4, Ammo, is more than 2 seconds.
Wow, he's getting mauled here by Jason, and in fact, Jason there looking very racy in front, the back of the rear wing off the GT Radio Eurasia car as they come through turn 4 right now. Can he still keep it together? Yes, he does. But Jason goes on the inside and he tries to get maneuver. There it does through turn 5. Amazingly, he got it on the inside and takes away 4th place. Now Alif has to actually follow suit to actually get the Flash team up to the top 3.
Jason Tay is indeed into the top 3, out of the front. We've rather ignored him a little bit, but Kalen Chin, after a fabulous qualification, he is racing away. This is a very, very quick out. They're all on soft tyres, soft compound tyres, and Kalen Chin has got himself in P1. Only Nakib Aslan able to keep with that pace.
Yeah, but only about 6/10 in it between them, and Nakib crucially has the DRS coming around the next lap, so Kalen has to watch his rearview mirrors here if he's going to get a dive bomb on the inside by Nakib or on the outside, whichever way, because the start-finish line here at Hungaroring is quite wide. Does Nakib go into the inside? Not this time. He's actually conserving his tires for now, trying to get by Kalen. So Kalen then holding firm for the lead for now, but Nakib there looking very close as ever.
Back behind them in P3, Jason Tay is still leading that procession. P3, I tell you what, Jason Tay is a much underrated driver. The Flasher, we keep talking about Alif Hamilton, but the Flash racer is really, really good. Up at the front, sorry, got to go back up to the front because Nakib is beginning to make 1 or 2 little moves on Kalen Chin, and there could be a lead change. These two, Ammo, would be wise to work together, you feel?
Yeah, they would, because with each other's slipstream, they can pull away. In fact, they pulled up a 2.4, 2.5 second gap right now over Jason Tay. So Tay then has nobody to follow in front to get the DRS and has nobody to follow for reference. So he's going to have to make up that gap naturally, trying to get to the back of Nakib Aslan.
The gap between 1 and 2 is very tight. Between 2 and 3, it's nearly 2 seconds. Inigo Anton in P4 is still holding off Mohammed Alif Hamilton. Alif, though, has got himself into P5. He is a prodigious racer. As Alex was saying, I think, in the pre-show, his worst round was 23 points.
Superlatives will fail us here to describe how good he drives this season and how they've pretty much upstaged the rest of the field who have already had a season in these cars. Normally people might struggle when they come into the first season, but having said that, he's under attack.
Tarunya's gone past him.
Yep, Taruna has actually gone around the outside of him through turn 2. That's amazing stuff there from the safe house driver.
Well, Arwin Tarunya, we keep talking about how quick he can be, and he shows it exactly right there. We are on lap 4. Kalen Chin leads. Here is Arwin Tarunya, currently in P5. Looking good is Arwin. He is the junior partner of that partnership with Miko Nassi, but I tell you what, he's taking the senior leading role at the moment.
Yeah, because Miko's just having a mare right now in terms of form. In fact, he's actually in 23rd right now. So whatever happened to Miko in qualifying and indeed the start of the race is not looking good for him to actually maintain even the top 10 in the championship at this point.
Well, at the moment, Kalen Chin is still leading the way. Nakib Aslan in P2. Jason Tay holding on to P3. And then I think we are going to have to...
We're going to have to flag it off? No, actually, we got about... We're still going on here. So we're going to continue with the race right now. We're getting word from our producers here. So we're going to go to the action as it goes along. Yes, I'm going on the outside of Alif. These two already had history at Zandvoort, mind you. So just now, Ayman actually nearly tried to go around the outside the way that Alif tried to go the inside. Arwin goes on the inside of walking Inigo Anton. They go side by side through turn 3 and 4 there. Amazingly, they survived that particular scuffle. And Ayman's about to go on the inside of Alif again. No, Alif holds the door shut. So Alif, under intense pressure from a lot of drivers, manages to hold on to 6th place right now, as Mika now is attacking Ayman and has gotten past for 7th.
Behind them, Ayman Akim Tadashi is in P8. Kalen Chin is still leading the way. Well, so there is Tadashi. He's lost his place. Let's go on with Kalen Chin. Kalen and Nakib are pulling away, but they've not been able to pay 2-4. Oh, that looked like he had a little wobble there, did Kalen. What's happened to Nakib Aslan?
That's not Kalen. That's actually Jack.
Oh, that's Jason Tay.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's the Challenger car. But yeah, we're back out to the front now. Kalen's back to normal. So many identical cars. We just get confused sometimes.
My apologies for that, as we are looking backwards.
And on to the first corner. Nakib goes around the outside of Kalen. Does he make the mistake? No. Kalen holds firm on the inside, goes narrow, and prevents Nakib to get onto the inside turn 2. Or does he? He goes on the inside now. Nakib then, with a lot to lose here in the championship, takes the lead from Kalen. That is a brave maneuver, and Kalen probably will feel a bit hard done by that.
There seemed to be a little bit of contact there from Nakib Aslan, but he's made the move. As we say, he needs to be almost perfect. He wasn't perfect in qualification, only P3, 3 points there, but he has made the move. Jason Tay currently in P3, but what a cracking battle that Jason Tay is putting up. We're kind of ignoring him because of what's going on in front of him, but Jason has pulled to within a second of the front 2 ammo.
And that's because both of them were battling. So unfortunately, when Nakib and Kalen started battling, they lost a lot of time and has drawn in Jason to come into play. Now, Jason can actually play the team game. He might actually help out Alif here if he could nibble points away from Nakib in particular. Kalen's not going to have anything much to lose apart from top 5 position, but Nakib has even more to lose with a championship on the line.
He is a very, very good spoiler, is Jason Tay. I wonder if we can look just a little bit further down. Jason is outside the RS time. If we can have a look at the movements of Mika Hakimi and Ayman Akim Tadashi in P7 and P8. They're the 2 blue cars. They're trying to get around Inigo Anton, who has dropped back to P6 after a decent start. Mika was one of my calls because he had such a thrilling drive last week in Danford, and this could be a circuit that sees him overtake driver after driver, but Tadashi's in his way.
Yeah. No, in fact, actually, Mika's in front of Ayman this time, so he actually got around him.
Apologies.
Yep. Mika actually got around him at this very corner around turn 6. So a lot of turn 5. A lot of drivers are actually making that move stick around this corner basically. So Ayman actually just got nicked there by Mika, and now Ayman has to actually get by him. All the while they're actually trying to get by this guy Inigo Anton, who's been quite stubborn in his defense, trying to keep away the fast drivers from getting his position.
Inigo Anton is second in that train there behind Mohammed Alif. I think the weight added to Alif this time is just going to stop him running away with things, which is good for the overall championship, but it'll mean that Alif can have a real think about which round he wants to drop.
Yeah,
Inigo Anton currently in P6 from the Philippines, currently in 8th place in the championship standings on 95
switch back
points.
onto the inside there, Kalen.
Oh, contact once again.
The dummy there, he actually saw Nakib, the dummy, to go into the inside through turn 1. Nakib probably didn't expect that because he thought that Kalen was going to go around the outside, but nope, swap into the inside coming through turn 1, and Kalen has outfoxed the reigning champion.
Wow, what a move that is. There are still 5 minutes to race, but that's a nervy 5 minutes, I feel, for Nakib Aslan. Will he want to get that back straight away, or will he wait for DRS on the last couple of laps?
I think he will wait for the DRS coming around next time by, because he has the advantage of it next time. Yes, Kalen actually has it now, but he can't use it anywhere here anyway, because it's just not enough to utilize its full effect as we go through to the battle for the right now. We get back to the front here. But Nakib then has to wait until the next time by to get DRS. Kalen's going to use it. Yep, you can see the wing open just about slightly. He uses it slightly to get ahead, but Nakib is still close by. So once the guys get through to the final sector and back to the start-finish line, Nakib here has the absolute advantage of DRS.
I can also tell you that Jason Tay has rejoined things, has rejoined that race up at the top. Nakib in P2, Kalen Chin P1, Nakib in the lime green for Stratos in P2. As we follow him, then going through your screen, just a second beyond. Again, he just misses out on DRS, does Jason Tay. He's not been able to get close enough at the right time.
Because Kalen actually used the last of his DRS on the start-finish line. That's why he managed to pull it away slightly. And because he opened it before the start-finish line, he could still use it. So that's why when Nakib started using his, he had no advantage. He just couldn't catch him. So now he's going to have to make it around through the lap to get close to Kalen again.
This is back for a battle where Inigo Anton in P6. He's about 2 seconds down on Alif, who's been able to pull away, but he is holding up Mohamed Nabil, Tadashi, Presley Martono. Fadli Rakhmat is making a move up there as well.
I don't know why we keep cutting to the challenge.
Mika Hakimi has dropped out.
Oh, Mika Hakimi, and we'll see what happened to him. Oh, Nabil has sustained a puncher. Mika's also sustained a puncher. In fact, Nabil has a slow puncher. There it is. Bang on cue. He spins in the midfield. Oh, he gets taken out by a few drivers. That was almost expected. He could get out of the way in time. Now he has to crawl back to the pits. Facepalm. He can't believe it. Second race in a row that he's actually been involved in incidents. And Zandvoort was under Natch spins. And in fact, more cars going on the background there. Disastrous 10 years so far for Nabil in the Stratos car.
Was it a good transfer? That's a question that we'll ask. Back up to the front. Nakib has a look around the outside of Kalen Chin. 3 minutes remaining. Kalen Chin and some back markers about to complicate matters. All on soft compounds. How will tire degradation affect these last couple of laps, Amo Hazik?
Well, 2 times tire wear is not so bad. And Hungary is not really known for its tire wear. It's known for its brake eating tendencies because the drivers go around here for 78 laps in the actual Grand Prix. So they brake hard. You can see brake dust come up. In terms of tire wear, not so much. So I think they can just push it all the way to the end.
Kalen Chin still leads. 2.5 minutes remaining. They are lapping around 118. So we've got this lap plus 2, perhaps. So we might have 2.5 laps left in this race as Kalen Chin goes again under pressure from Nakib. Oh, look at the back markers. It's a Black Wolf racer. Daniel gets out of the way of his teammate. That would cause a controversy if he got in the way of his protege.
Yeah, it could almost be like the Red Bull incident in Turkey back in 2010 where there was friendly fire there. But luckily, Daniel looked at his mirrors and gave way to his teammate. Now then, can Kalen actually pull up a gap here as it comes across the start finish line? He didn't have DRS that time round. Nakib does, and he might actually use it onto the inside here. No, not that time round. Nakib's been being a bit conservative today, apart from a few lunges. But right now, he's actually probably thinking about the championship.
2 laps remaining. And we are on the penultimate lap. Nakib Aslan, Stratos Motorsports in the lime green. Will he just hold his powder dry until the last lap? He has got DRS on Kalen Chin. Jason Tay again has been able to hold on to P3 but not get close enough to the front 2.
He's also probably just being conservative because he knows this is a good haul of points for the team's championship. We have not talked much about the team championship yet, but Team Flash looks certainly good to actually win it coming to the last round.
Presley Martono for JMX, he's in P7. Fadli Rakhmat's got up to P8. I am enjoying the work of these 2 guys from Indonesia. Real additions, real improvements in the E1 Championship. So Martono on the soft compound, but probably a little bit too far away from Ayman Hakim Tadashi in P5 to really get close to them.
I hesitate to guess that Mika might have gotten to that puncture from a hit from Ayman Hakim, actually. Then that would be disaster. We might need to have a word with him afterwards if that was the case. But right now, Mika's out of it, and he has a chance to actually start from second. No, actually, no, he's not going to start on pole because it's not complete reverse grid. But it's a disaster weekend for him after coming good in Zandvoort.
Kalen Chin still leads. Now then, we are getting to the business end of the race, and Chin and Nakib have been scrapping it out. Nakib had the lead for about a lap and a half, but Kalen Chin otherwise has been just about perfect. Fastest in qualification, fastest off the line. Cheeky little maneuver to regain the lead. Kalen, is he able to hold on? Alif, the championship leader, down in P5. Looks like he's going to have to settle for 11 points from this particular race.
Yeah, indeed, and the fact that, we go back to the front here because it's more crucial right now. We're trying to get how close this battle is going to be towards the end. Now it has got bite markers. That's actually one of the EGG cars that they're approaching. I think, nope, they actually got it out of the way in time. So Kalen then has a clear line to the line.
And a bit of a gap. It's over a second from Nakib. So Nakib is really not taking... Nakib is slowing down, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just
Nakib's going backwards.
He's just watching over his tires because he knows that points are important right now as Kalen comes across the final corner to take the win here in race 1.
Kalen Chin, big smile, bottom left, takes his second victory of this E1 Championship season. We know this kid is good. Now he is showing it on a regular occasion. Alex Young, talk us to Kalen Chin. Let's see what kind of mood he's in.
Oh, we have to talk to Kalen Chin. Kalen Chin, that was a masterful victory. You had big pressure from the reigning champion, Nakib Aslan, but talk us through your race.
Oh my god, I mean, hats off to Nakib. He had me, like, my heart was racing the entire time. And when he got by me, I was just like, okay, stay calm, you can get him, you know, you're quicker. And I eventually did, and so, this win, it's a lot happier than the one in Aragon, as it's not a reverse grid, but yeah, my strategy was just keep ahead, you know, stay calm, and it worked, and yeah.
Wow, awesome. You were also on the soft tire as well, so you could make the soft tire last no problem as well. Do you think you could do the race 2 without a pit stop?
It was tough because the tire wear here in Hungary, it makes the tires degrade a lot quicker than at any other track, and so my heart was like, I was just so scared if I was gonna get a puncture the last lap, and which thankfully I didn't, and so. Yeah.
Wow, that must mean your tires are down to 0%. Congratulations, though, Kalen. Win number 2 for the season. Good luck for race 2. There are you have a lot of fans here in Malaysia, so I know they were cheering you on for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, what a great win for Kalen. Oh, whoa.
Really, really good. That was well-deserved. An outright pole and an outright race 1 win.
Fastest lap, Jack Ding Chung. There's a turn up for the books, and that is maybe an indication of how he's growing in confidence throughout this season. Kalen Chin picks up maximum points though for victory. Nakib to be content with 20 points. 16 for Jason Tay, doing a great job for Team Flash, who may well be en route to taking the overall team championship. And Arwin Tarunya also quick ahead of Mohammed Alif, Tadashi in P6, Martono and Fadli Rahmat for JMX in 7 and 8. So, some good names to talk about when Daniel takes us to the next part of this show.
That's right, there's a lot to unpack there. We'll see how all of this affects the overall championship because we're getting one step closer to our grand finale. All that coming to you very soon after this short commercial break. This season, we've had a handful of ERGP drivers make their guest appearances on the E1 Championship grid.
Getting ERGP qualifiers into this competition is an automatic wild card.
ERGP drivers have to qualify in a weekly leaderboard in RaceRoom. Whoever's got the 2 fastest times, they qualify to represent ERGP in E1.
Hello, my name is Francis Angelo Gonzalez from the Philippines. I got into the E1 Championship by the weekly leaderboard. My experience so far is good. I could have done better.
I've watched a lot of Ayman Haziq. He's a very, very good driver, very talented.
Top 10 performances.
Ayman Haziq has been so good in practice that he's qualified 4 weeks in a row.
My name is Ayman Haziq and I came from Malaysia. I actually joined previous season as well. I managed to actually get a top 5 in one of the rounds. I actually come from a karting background. I also started my sim racing career as well. So basically I do both karting and sim racing at the same time.
Other ERGP drivers that come to mind include
Jinmas Wilton. He's actually the cousin of the Leaf.
I'm Hans Wilton. I started sim racing back in 2008, I guess.
I was really mad about cars when I was young. I think I like anything with speed. That's what made me like motorsports. Not long ago, I got a wheel for myself at home. Managed to join some races online. And then I joined ERGP, Global Edition, driving the DTM cars.
I raced with him for all my life. He's a very strong driver.
My main goal in E1 would be to at least finish top 5 in all the races that I compete in, hoping to represent
one of the esports team out there in the near future.
Mohamed Zini I'd like to watch. He's only been doing sim racing for a short time, and I think he could be a star of the future.
My name is Mohamed Zini from Singapore. I started doing sim racing in F1 2011. Back in 2017 is where I got my first win. My thoughts on the level of the competition is very tight up front. Surely my goal for E1 is to be exposed to this level of racing, which is quite high for me.
And boy, have they shown their raw speed and talent, and show that they really have what it takes to be up at the top 5, or dare I say, even on the podium.
As an example, Mohamed Nabil came through that ERGP qualifying
and then eventually replaced Mohamed Ibrahim at Stratos Motorsports.
What he needed to do was show that he could do it in the E1 Championship, and he did do that. The reward is a place alongside his brother.
It just shows that there's a lot of good quality in the region, even if they can't get into the big teams.
If I give it a choice which team I would join, is probably RSG.
Any team will do for me.
Having ERGP allows anyone to join. As long as you're quick enough, you can get to the top 2 into that leaderboard, you can race with the pros.
Welcome back. Now, I love that little piece there on the ERGP team and how it gives drivers an extra platform for more exposure on this extremely competitive level. And it is very, very competitive, E1 Championship Season 1. Looking at the ERGP drivers so far with us, Alex, who's impressed you the most?
Well, yeah, I mean, Ayman Haziq, obviously, he's been super consistent. And Mohamed Nabil at the very beginning of the season, who's now driving Stratos. And that's what's so good about the ERacing GP leaderboard thing, because we have so many good drivers coming up through the regions, youngsters as well. They do it in the leaderboard, they come and race with us. It's a showcase that hopefully one of the other teams will pick them up.
All right, well, we just wrapped up race 1 at round 7, and we've got race 2 coming up very shortly. Let's go take a look at the highlights from that sprint race.
So here's the start. There's Kalen Chin in the black car leading off the line. Nakib started P3, but he was up to P2. And this move around the outside didn't quite make it at that point, but he was really close. And then the next corner went down the inside, had a small touch. Very on the limit that was. But then Kalen, he didn't panic, which is very good, as we saw some of the other action further down the field. But Kalen did and this is actually Mohamed Nabil, the other Stratos car, had a puncher, went off, and Josh Perwin, super unlucky, went into the side of him. But then with a few laps to go, Kalen Chin with this great move, so impressed with this 14-year-old, showing so much more calm, composure when he drives.
Very impressive indeed. Let's take a look at the top 10 from race 1. Kalen will love this graphic. There he is at the top step once again with 25 points, though he didn't bag the fastest lap. Nakib Aslan there in second. He challenged a couple of times for the lead, but ultimately didn't quite make it stick. We got Jason Tay making his debut on the podium. All right, so after that race 1, I think there are a couple of drivers that we really want to double down on and speak to. Let's see if we can take a quick chat with Jason Tay. Jason, Team Flash, congratulations. It's your first podium in the E1 Championship. Walk us through your race.
Yes, it's finally a podium, man. Yeah, I had a great qualifying. Never thought I would get that kind of lap times anywhere. I never had that times anywhere in practice. Yeah, got off to a great start, got past Inigo Anton midway through the starting phase of the race, and then just try to keep it clean, trying to lock up my wheels and try to conserve my tires, and then just make it to the end. And P3, yay.
Yay. Yeah, that's definitely a strategy that worked. It looks like you had a great setup, and it looks like you've learned a lot as well from your teammates. So we're looking forward to seeing what you can do in race 2, of course, with that reverse grid. Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's have a quick conversation with, see if we can catch conversation with Arwin Taruna. Arwin, there you are. Good job to finish P4, your best result so far. I mean, you've been in positions where you could run at the front, but had some accidents. But you must be happy with P4.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very, very happy for me and my team, of course. They are so supportive and keep me company. And yeah, we can enjoy the race. Yeah. Without my team, I cannot enjoy the race, actually.
Well, the race pace looked good. Didn't qualify so well, but your race pace was very strong. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, of course. I'm very happy for the race, and maybe obviously because the strongest guy were on higher ballast. I was no ballast at all, so yeah, I'm take it.
Okay, well, congratulations. Good luck for race 2, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great to see some of these drivers up at the front, mixing things up in the championship standings. We're going to have even more mix-ups and even more action coming your way in race 2. But first, a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the E1 Championship Season 1. We've just wrapped up Race 1 at the Hungaroring. We've seen a lot of action up and down the field, and we've got Race 2 coming your way in a matter of minutes. We have a reverse grid. We've got an ERGP front row lockout. And to walk you through that action, I'm going to hand it over to the commentary box of Des and Amo, who are going to comment on the drivers who are in practice at the moment.
Yeah, thanks very much, Daniel. Let's hope that Race 2 is every bit as good as Race 1, where we had some of the protagonists a little bit further down the field really making a play. Kalen Chin, Jason Tay, good names to look out for. Nabil, Nabil was pushed out of things. But Amo, Jason Tay, we've not really talked about him much all season. Suddenly, he's pushing for a top 5 place.
Yeah, he's a dark horse for that particular fight for the top 5 positions and the final prize money paying position. So yes, he actually has a shot here of actually getting there. But with Kalen winning race 1 and him finishing 3rd, he's dropped points already to him. So he's going to have to actually get more here in the second race to actually stand any chance of overhauling Kalen.
The other one I'd like to really mention to you, Jack-Din Chung, fastest lap. First time we've seen it. The ex-Challenger team have come in this season. We haven't really seen a vast amount from them, but Jack-Din, there he is, fastest lap. That kid's got some ability, clearly.
Yeah, amazingly, because for the most part, towards the end of the race, about 5 minutes left to go, it was already Ayman Zakim's. I thought Ayman was actually going to get the fastest lap, but then when we checked back the timing screens and the result screens came up, it was Jack-Din. So, surprise, surprise, he's actually come good now to actually challenge for not just for points, but he can also challenge for the extra points. And that is very good for Jack-Din. That's a sign of improvement.
Absolutely. One of the guys who I said keep a look out for him, Mika Hakimi looked like he was going to go pretty well, but he crashed out. Bit of a puncture, we understand. Was it Tadashi? You're in communication with the guys. Was it Tadashi?
No, not today, unfortunately. I haven't had a word with what happened to them, but I hazard to guess it might have been friendly fire because they were actually close together on the track at that moment in time while challenging Inigo. It might be Inigo as well, not gonna lie, but I'm hazarding to guess it's friendly fire.
If your teammate does that to you, you as a racer, Amo, how many expletives?
Can't say on air. I think it will I would be pretty cross. In fact, I think Mika will probably know how he feels like to get friendly fire because we've been involved in a few incidents ourselves too, actually. So it will be quite a weird debrief between those two guys after this.
Okay, we are just about to get underway on race number 2. It's a reverse grid race. I think it was 12 places, so we've got an all ERGP front row of the grid. They are decent racers, the likes of Jin Masvilton and Ayman Hazik. We could have an ERGP podium here, Amo, which would be some performance.
Yeah, indeed, against the seasoned guys some more, so that is actually a good way to advertise yourself at the front of, at the front of the championship. It's a shop window, basically, as we mentioned, like in the previous segments. These guys are actually advertising themselves for future prospects.
However, we'll also keep an eye on Ayman Hakim Tadashi, Josh Perwin, Kalen Chin, Jason Tay, Nasi, who had a dreadful time, Inigo Anton, as well as Nakib and Alif Hamilton. Alif getting another 5th finish. Right, we are all just about set. Jin Masvilton is on pole position, and we will drive with Jin Masvilton. He is on the right of your screen. Alongside him is Ayman Hazik. Masvilton gets off to a splendid start, and looking behind him, Inigo Anton has made a move through into P2, but Masvilton, who can be very quick, is then barged out in the corner number 1, 4 abreast as they go around the first corner.
It looks almost like a motorbike race for a second there with so many drivers getting through to the whole shot, but it's Anton who actually gets the whole shot in the lead, and he takes it quite well here, but Rahman is going to try to challenge on the outside. He's still going to go side by side here. Coming out to turn 4, it's going to end in tears if they're not going to give each other room.
Philippines with Inigo Anton into the lead with Fadli Rakhmat going on the inside. Two aggressive moves from the JMX Phantom racer. Really have enjoyed Fadli Rakhmat. Tadashi, I can tell you, is in P3. He's in the blue livery, and Tadashi picked up useful points in race 1, and this is looking good for him in race 2, Amo.
Yeah, he could actually close out to Nakib conversely if he could actually get a good run here. 44 points coming into this round. He has an awful lot to do to gain on Nakib, but crucially, he can actually gain points on Josh because Josh Perwin had an absolutely dreadful first race.
Presley Martono was the man in P4. He picked up points in qualification. He also came 7th in race number 1. Musvilton, who was on pole, is down in P5. But it is Inigo Anton who leads as they come over the start-finish line. But immediately DRS is available, and Fadli Rakhmat is on new race leaders. Both he and Ayman Hakim Tadashi try to go around the outside, but Fadli leads for JMX Phantom.
He's going to look at sitting duck here, Inigo Anton. Finally then with the DRS, makes an absolutely brilliant move around the outside. Very typical here because it's such a long straight at the start-finish line. But Anton, he does have DRS. He's going to actually hold everybody up here if he loses ground on Fadli. And look at that. It's almost now a second a gap between himself and Fadli coming into turn 5.
Let's look at the championship contenders. This is Presley Martono is there, but right behind Presley Martono, you have got Mohammed Alif Hamilton and Nakib Aslan. In fact, Presley has lost ground to the front of them, and look at that, both Nakib and Alif have got in front of them. So Alif in P4, Nakib in P5. For Alif, well, he just needs another comfortable... Oh, look at that. That is monstrously good.
Oh,
Tadashi doesn't like it. Oh, and Alif goes past 2. Anton closes the gate, but great driving.
Ambitious there. He wanted to take 2 positions in 2 corners, and he nearly made it work, but unfortunately, the side-by-side contact in RaceRoom just pushed him out slightly wide, despite him being on the inside. So Anton gets back 2nd position, but all the while here, he's actually holding up the rest of them. It's big incident! Big incident coming to turn 1. Nakib hits the back of Anton, and Anton goes spinning out of the race.
Nakib Aslan will pick up P3 as a result of that. Inigo Anton is out. Inigo has gone. Is he back in the race? Well, yeah, he is back there, but down to P11, Inigo Anton. That is a dreadful, dreadful moment for the Filipino.
Oh man, and it's no fault of his own because he just tried to close the line on the inside. Nakib actually came steamrolling in because of the DRS, and he had no way to brake because he probably thought that Anton was going to brake a bit later, misjudged it and whacked at the back of him. Amazingly, his car's not so damaged despite of that collision.
It's Kalen Chin who's the man in front of him. Let's move back up to the front where Fadli Rakhmat has been getting better and better and better throughout this season. And look at this, he's got a 1 second lead over Alif Hamilton and another ½ second over Nakib Aslan. He is playing with the big boys now, is Fadli.
Yeah, indeed. And the fact that you can use a football analogy here, but he seems to be the form guy coming to the end of the championship. And again, one of the potential spoilers here for the championship battle up in front. But he's going to have to put that into practice right now if he can hold on to the lead from a fast-charging AR Muhammad Alif.
So it is, well, Alif will have the DRS at the end of lap 3, coming into lap number 4. There's still 25 minutes to go. All of the leading racers are on soft compound tyres. Only Inigo Anton is on a hard compound. So even though he was bashed off, a no-stopper likely for a hard compound?
Most likely here because it's ×2 tyre wear, which is not that bad. So he might actually go all the way to the end, barring if anything else happens to him, because that car might be heavily damaged from that big shunt.
Alif Hamilton has dropped off. Something has happened to Mohammed Alif Hamilton. He has dropped right the way down to P9.
I think he got hit there by Nakib, if I'm not mistaken, because he actually was, they were both together on the same piece of real estate and went off at turn 4. So might have been a collision there from Nakib that sent Alif into a spin. That is controversial because that's the 2 championship contenders fighting each other. Further behind, look at that. Ayman actually is trying to fend off from Presley Martono. Martono tried to look at the inside. Did he make a mistake? No, he's still in 4th place. But Ayman there defended so hard against two cars at the same time.
Troy Iman, Jason Tay, Mika Hakimi, all in that little group of 4. It is Ayman Hakim Tadashi who leads the way. He is the man in P3 in the overall championship coming into this round, but under pressure from fast Presley Martono, and Presley just waltzes past him on that home straight.
The power of the DRS here. In fact, there's no way to complain about it because that's the allocated allocated distance for the DRS in FIA regulations anyway, as Troy Iman now goes on the inside. The two Aymans. Troy Iman overtaking Ayman Hakim. Ayman Hakim being the big loser of all that, losing 2 positions in the same lap. He's going to lose 3 here if Jason goes to the outside, and he does. 3 in a few corners.
Jason Tay, I tell you what, this fella is timing his run to perfection. If he goes into the final round of the Nürburgring in this kind of form, he will be looking at a top 3 slot ahead of Tadashi.
Yep, and he can also just focus on that particular race because he already dropped 1 round because he didn't start that first race of the season, and all the scores so far has been good. It's a clear indication that he is going to try to aim for the top 5.
Right, so there's Jason Tay in P5, Troy Iman in P4. That's the lime green livery. Further up, Fadli Rakhmat is still the man in the lead. We've got 23 minutes remaining. There's a long way to go. Nakib within DRS range. Nakib is having a good weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, that first race, okay, qualifying, he qualified third, first race second. He could go for first in the second race, so 3-2-1 in one go in the weekend. That won't look too bad on his resume, and indeed on his championship charge here, with Alif struggling right now. Further behind us, Naki goes on the inside and takes the lead from Fadli. Fadli then uncharacteristically sloppy coming through turn 2.
So Fadli Rakhmat loses position, but these two have got a huge lead. Nearly 4 seconds over Presley Martono. Fadli, let's see how we respond to that. He hasn't got the DRS, so Nakib is racing away on the technical side of this particular circuit. We're at the Hungaroring. It is round 7 of 8 of the E1 Championship, Season 1. Nakib Aslan needs to just hope upon hope that he can accumulate enough points to stay into contention for the final round at the Nürburgring next week.
And crucially right now, because they're on the same tyres here, Fadli and Nakib. So if he pulls a bit of a gap, and they're presumably on the same strategy, barring if Fadli goes onto the hard tyres and Nakib goes soft. So we'll see first how this plays out. But right now, it's looking good for Nakib. As meanwhile, can we go to Mika Hakimi, because he started way at the back at his race and he's performed one of those Houdini-type comebacks to get back up into the top 6.
There is Mika Hakimi. He's got himself into P6. It's Jason Tay who he's got in his sights, and he's got past, he's dragged Mohammed Alif Hamilton along with him. Alif had dropped down to P9 since when he's overtaken Tadashi, who's going backwards.
Look at his face again. Can we point out his face? I think he's driving angry again, so that's why he's actually driving quite well, Mika. So from the back, after being in a potential point scoring position, he's going to actually now try to challenge the championship leaders here. So it's interesting how his weekends can turn out bad in race 1, turn out to be absolutely great in race 2. He should probably start the back more often then if he actually drives this well.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. But you're racers, you're strange people. You've worked that one out already. Mika Hakimi in P6, Jason Tay in 5, Troy Iman 4, Presley Martono. Let's have a little look at Presley, see how fast he's going. He's lapping 118.6 consistently in the mid-118s, but under pressure from Troy Iman.
Yeah, in fact, huge pressure here. But the fact that they're not with the same Stratos team, but Troy Iman can also help out here with the point scoring for Nakib here, if he can actually hold off the guys behind. You know, particularly Mika in the championship stakes, because we're looking at team championship as well. Stratos are a few... How many points behind? I forgot how many.
It's 100. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So I think if we go by permutation, maybe it's enough for Flash to actually win this, but in this run, we'll have to look back after this.
Back up at the front, I can tell you, Nakib Aslan has extended his lead to just over half a second. His ambition on this last half of this 8th lap, Ammo, will it be to break the DRS, or will he want to work alongside Fadli just to make sure nobody else can get close?
5 seconds is a big gap though between themselves and Troy, so I think Nakib can just, be like a hare and make a beeline for it, because this is his race to lose now. He just cannot simply lose it at this position with 25 points, and I think currently fastest lap of the race, fastest lap of the race going to Nakib. So a lot on the line here for him. He just needs to actually just sprint away at the front.
I'm afraid I've got to disappoint you. Muhammad Alif has posted a
Oh.
1:17.7. Never forget Alif. Whenever you say fastest lap, I always look to Alif to see if he's there. But Nakib leads coming through into lap 8. Has he got a 1 second lead? The answer's no. Fadli within DRS range.
Yep, and not as close as previously for Fadli. So I think he's biding his time as well, trying to conserve these tyres. They're not thinking about going all the way to the end on soft tyres. That's impossible because these tyres just wear out so fast. But they can actually extend the stint a bit and probably can have the opportunity to use the soft tyres for the second stint. So they can have the opportunity to go very aggressive on both instances.
Just before we begin to get into the situation of tyre changes or maybe pit stops, let's just look around. Look at Ben Seek. He's got himself into a top 10 position. We don't spend much time with the Brunei-based team, but Ben is doing pretty well there. Top 10 would be his best result of the campaign if he can hold on.
Yeah, in fact, he started from 16th to get up to the top 10. Maybe he was a beneficiary of certain events that happened to the front, to the guys in front, most notably what happened to Inigo Anton being taken out by Nakib. Oh, wait, which brings back to the point. Nakib might be penalized for that incident. So Fadli now would be looking good for the win here.
Yeah, you're quite right. Nakib has been quite aggressive so far. We'll worry about that one, though, or we won't worry. We'll let the race control worry about that one, but it could have an influence. Other people to look out for, Jackdin Chung in P13. Jackdin had a fastest lap in race number 1 here. Here, he hasn't been able to get closer, 1:21, but he's inside the top 15 as well. Under pressure, though, from Josh Perwin.
Perwin then trying to overtake on the inside, coming through turn 12. That's almost possible as Jackdin runs a bit wide there. Can Josh go on the inside? You bet, he tried there, but Jackdin closed the door on Josh, and the two remain where they are. But we had to point out Josh Perwin, though. He's not having an absolutely great run. In fact, he's going to walk away with potentially only just 2 points if he finishes 14th.
Exactly, this could well be his drop round, but he's already had one poor round of 2, so it could be a bad weekend for Josh Perwin and the Black Arts team. Again, just before we get into the pit stops, Long, the best of the Vietnamese, he's down in P21 at the moment, but in a little race of his own. He's a long way behind Jay Yang, a long way in front of Leona Chin. Just got to be consistent, I think, as Longley.
Yeah, and looking at where he is right now, they have no opportunity for points unless certain things happen to the guys in front. But at the moment, at least, he's in a very lonely race in 21st.
Presley Martono is out of the race. Presley Martono, that doesn't look like a pit stop to me. It looks like the soft compound of Presley Martono has gone. Nakib retains the race lead ahead of Fadli Rahmat, Troy Iman, Jason Tay, Alif Hamilton, Mika Kimi and Tadashi.
Setting a little bit of a rhythm here. We had a bit of argy-bargy in the first 50 minutes. We're coming to the halfway point of the race now. It seems as though the drivers are just settling in before they come into their pit stops. And it'll be interesting as, oh, speaking of pit stops, there's Ayman Hakim coming in very early, in fact.
Ayman Hakim, Tadashi in the pits. Mika Kimi, I think, might have gone in the pits as well, as Tadashi comes out. So Tadashi comes out on a medium compound. Surely not. Yeah, yep. Tadashi's coming out on a medium.
Actually, that can go all the way to the end. It's no problem because we know that the softs, according to Kaelin's testimony, it actually turns 0 at the final lap. So I think there's actually a good move. But it might be a lap too early, though. So the medium tires will have to work a lap extra, and they might actually have reduced grip by the end of the race.
I'm on with Inigo Anton because both he and Joaquim Garrido from the Philippines, both on hard compound tires. Are they going to risk a no-stop strategy? That would be fun.
That would be fun indeed, because we have not seen a no-stop in this season at all, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this might be the very first instance of actually going long. And Hungary has known for that. I did mention in that first race that drivers can just try to extend the stint of those tires as long as they could before they can think about best tires. Or Garrido, they're going a bit squirrely coming through turn 11. You can actually get away with the tire degradation of the circuit.
We enjoy innovation, and we'll keep a close eye on Inigo and Joaquim Garrido. At the front, though, we are on to lap 12. Soft compound tires for Nakib Aslam. We're just beyond the halfway mark. So this lap after, perhaps come in for the pit change?
Maybe. We're going to look at this lap by lap, on a lap by lap basis, because I think Nakib has enough tire life in him actually to go for another lap. I could be wrong here, but I think he does because he look good at the moment because his lap times have not actually deviated off. In fact, he was only 0.7 of a second off from his fastest lap time last time down. So the tires are not looking too bad at the moment.
I'm wondering if Muhammad Alif is on a... if he's made a pit stop, because he dropped down to P9. He's on the tail there of Tadashi. He's on the soft. Tadashi is on the medium compound. They're on the same lap, so both must have gone in fairly early, but a different choice of tyre.
Yeah, in fact, I think Alif came in the lap after Ayman and Mika, and Ayman actually has jumped Alif for position on the road. So 8th place at the moment for Ayman, but unfortunately, he's on the wrong compound of tyres. He's going to get caught here by Alif, who's on a better set of tyres as they go through turn 11, being held up by the challengers. What happened there? Oh, that's actually Fali going to the pit. So I thought for a second that was actually Alif out of the race.
No. Nakib is leading the way. Fadli is in the pits. Nakib is just leading as they come out. Now, will they still be leading? The answer is...
yes.
Yes. So Inigo is now in P3. So the gamble probably won't work because Nakib on soft compounds. Inigo Anton, well, there he is behind Fadli Rahmat.
Whoa.
If he is trying to go for a no-stopper, he's going to be on dodgy tyres.
Well, speaking of dodgy tyres, Fadli there with a very dodgy driving because, not dodgy driving in a bad way in terms of disciplinary actions, but he is on fresh tyres here as coming out of the pits. Looked like he had no grip for a second. The car nearly stepped out a bit. And Anton here on hard tyres, looking a bit more stable in him.
P3 though for Inigo Anton. Fadli Rahmat in P2. Nakib Aslan is the man who is in the lead. He's posted it's still not the fastest lap. Fastest lap is a 1:17.7 by Alif.
I think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to go for a fastest lap here just to nick a bit of more points away from Alif, with Alif not even in the top 5 at the moment. So looking good so far. He can actually just slash that gap, but at least under about 75 points coming into the final round, with more than 115 at stake and now he's taken for the final round of the season. So he's looking good at the moment here to reduce that gap, but he could have probably wished that he'd done that sooner in the early part of the season where Alif was dominating so much in the first 3 races of the season.
Just want to move to P3 where Troy Iman has overtaken the rapidly slowing Inigo Anton. Inigo's last lap, a 1:20.9. He's regularly in the 120, mid-120s. Those on soft compounds are in the 1:17s and 1:18s. He's losing 2 seconds a lap.
The delta is too much here. I think the GT Radio Eurasia guys might want to bring him as soon as possible because the more he's actually hemorrhaging time, the more likely he's going to finish outside even of the top 15. And he's done a great job to recover here to get back up where he was at the start of the race. But unfortunately, the tyres that he's on right now is not going to do the job for him.
And Jason Tay is also making a move here on Inigo Anton just to illustrate your point beautifully. Jason Tay, I cannot say how much impressed or how impressive he has been today. He got himself a podium and he said at last that proves that he thinks he's in good nick. And here he's trying to get himself into a P4 position ahead of Inigo Anton with still 11 minutes left to race. Tay goes on the inside but doesn't risk it just yet. But it's only a matter of time, Amo.
Indeed, and in fact, coming through the last corner now, he might not get DRS this time round, but he does take the position and he's out the 4th. But Inigo then might actually try to use the DRS to retaliate coming to turn 1. Does he have the grip? And does he have the line? Nope. He does, but whoa, he actually cuts across in front of, is that Presley Matona?
Hamilton.
Oh, it's Alif. Alif nearly got wiped out there by Inigo for a second. That would have provided him quite a scare because he didn't expect him to cut back across the line, the racing line coming to turn 1.
That was really good evasive action there from Alif Hamilton. Proves you've got to be on your mettle. Mika Kimi's gone on to P9. Very, very quickly, let's go down to some of those who we don't spend a lot of TLC with. This is Leona Chin, who's down in P20 at the moment. She's just making sure that she's not going to be responsible for a casualty. But her lap time's 1:25.2. She's averaging the 1:25s, which it's a long way off the race leaders, but very respectable in its own right, Amo.
And it's decent because as long as within 110%, I'm actually laughing out right now that particular background that they're using here. It is a green screen, and it has a bit of an alien vibe to it, to be honest, because I thought for a second she was actually somewhere in outer space or on top of a UFO, but it is what it is, wearing the deal with it specs too. So great little Easter egg there for us to watch as she drives around the track. I don't know if she can actually see well through those glasses.
And a back up at the front though, let's have a look. It's a 10-second lead for Naqib Aslam. That suggests that Fadli has either gone into the pits or been in an incident. Here is Fadli in P3, chasing on the back of Troy Iman. Tell you what, I think Fadli has had a moment, Amo.
Correct, he actually went off track somewhere out of our screen, so apologies for that, we kind of missed it. But he has now been he's tried to overtake a back marker, I think, that he went off track. So he lost that track position, and now he's lost position completely to Troy Iman. So Iman then making it a Stratos 1-2, albeit being sister teams.
And Fadli is followed by Mohammed Alif, who's followed by Jason Tay. We are into the final 9 minutes. Naqib Aslam doing all he can to secure at least second spot in the overall championship standings, trying to just nip into that lead for Alif, but Alif is just like a machine. And Alif in P4. He had a what did Alif have? P5 in race 1, P4 in race 2, and we're saying that's a bad weekend.
By his standards, it might be a bad weekend because knowing the fact that Naqib will go for third, second, and first, even with a penalty right now, he will still be leading, winning the race because he's over 10 seconds ahead of Troy Iman. So it has worked out brilliantly for him.
What Alif's got to be careful of is that he doesn't let Jason Tay pass, saying, there you go, teammate. Wonder how race control would say that, because race control are being pretty strict at the moment about ensuring everybody is competitive in their racing.
Yes, this brings back to the point that Alex actually might have spoken to the drivers before the briefing here about disciplinary stuff, where if we see drivers intentionally slowing to actually reduce their balance for the final run, the stewards might actually come in hard on these guys. So we're looking out for if there's anybody trying to sandbag, but at the moment at least they're driving honestly right now, and Alif in 4th position will not be thinking about doing that to jeopardize his championship hopes in the final round of the championship.
Indeed, he's far too professional, far too good to do that. Right then, let's have a look at the work of Josh Perwin, because Josh had a disastrous race 1. He's not having a particularly good race 2, Amo. He's down in P9, but 23 seconds adrift of Kalen Chin in P8.
Talk about a difference between two Aussies. One guy has won the race. The other guy, who is trying to challenge for the championship early doors in the season, has actually not materialized that well, although he is in 4th place right now. He's not had a good run this time. In fact, we're viewing both Kalen and Josh just to show to illustrate how different they are feeling right now.
Kalen, he's going to drop out the top 5 in the overall championship standings, because Kalen and Jason Tay and Inigo have had decent rounds.
Yeah, Kalen looking very serene up in the top 8. He's in 8th place right now in the top 10. Josh cracking a bit of a smile, but he knows full well that this round has been disastrous for him.
Okay, we've got to take you back up to the front, because Naqib Aslam is, well, if he was responsible for some incidents, was it 5-second penalty, 10-second penalty? Because he's 11 seconds clear.
So he's actually got that buffer of either the 5 and the 10. He can't get any worse than that because it is pretty much a racing incident up to that point. If you want to give a 30+ second penalty, it might have been something monumental, like he intentionally took out another driver. But in this case, that looks like he misjudged his braking, hit the back. It was a bit clumsy, but overall, he's gotten away with it. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, it won't matter now. The win is his, and he could keep it up here at the front. And crucially, fastest lap of the race as well.
He has indeed, 1:17.0. That is seriously quick. It is 5/10 quicker than anybody else. Naqib Aslam hasn't given up this championship, has he? I may be talking him down, but he isn't.
Nope, you can't take a man lying down and try to actually beat him up for that. He is going to stand up and try to fight all the way to the end. Being reigning champion, of course, that's why he's carrying the #1 in his car. But that opportunity of winning the championship might be a bit slim coming to the final round. He's got a lot of work to do. He needs to hope that Alif will have a disastrous Nürburgring round to actually have an opportunity. And even then, he has to wait, hope that his drop score is going to hamper him as well.
Double points available at the Nürburgring, as Amo just suggested. Jason Tay in P5 is closing in on Muhammad Ali Hamilton. Fadli Rakhmat is the man in P3. He's not too far behind Troy Iman, but Troy has been able to stretch away. Troy's last lap of 1:17.8, a full 10th faster, oh no, a 10th slower than Fadli. So how has Troy been able to pull a 1.5 second lead over Fadli Rakhmat?
Looking at the instant log again, I think, yeah, he might have fallen off the pace somewhere. He might have made a mistake. He didn't go completely off track, but 1 or 2 mistakes was enough to actually hamper him, and now he's actually lost the DRS to Troy Iman. So he's going to have to look behind him now, as opposed to looking forward in trying to attack for second position. He's going to have to watch over his position on the final place of the rostrum.
And behind him, it's a young fella called Muhammad Ali Hamilton. We call him Hamilton because he's quite some racer. It's his nickname. But the Singaporean is the championship leader, 4th place here, carrying a lot of ballast. Championship leader will carry a lot of ballast into the final round as well, but it doesn't seem to be hampering him too much.
No, sirree. I mean, in qualifying, it did hamper him a bit because that's why he didn't qualify in the top 5. He was 8th fastest in qualifying. That first race was a bit difficult for him, but he managed to make his way up to the top 5. Now he's up to 4th, so a bit of a recovery job this weekend, to be honest. He's trying to do damage limitation as opposed to what Nakib is doing, which is a demolition job at the front to gain points on him. What Alif is doing right now is just to actually secure himself for the final round of the championship, and he's in good shape at the moment, not gonna lie.
Okay, right, 3 minutes or so remaining. Let's just check in on Ayman Akeem Tadashi. Tadashi 3rd in the championship standings before this round. However, he didn't do particularly well in qualification. He got a P6, 10 points. He's P7 here. Will that be enough to hold on to P3? Yeah, it probably will, actually.
Interesting, a bit of team orders, I think. No, that's just actually Mika going extra defensive onto the inside. Almost Michael Schumacher pushing Rubens Barrichello to the wall style there for a second. But yeah, Mika just didn't want to give away. I thought for a second he was going to give Ayman away to actually, implement team orders.
Just moving away from that RSG battle, which is for P6. Fadli Rakhmat is under real pressure from Alif Hamilton. Indeed, Alif goes around the outside. Alif doesn't quite make it. Fadli holds on as they come onto the chicane, and that is good from Fadli. Jason Tay has a little look on the inside as well, but Alif Hamilton into P3 ahead of Fadli and Jason Tay. Little bit confusing. The liveries are all the same, or the liveries are very similar, but it's a flash leading from JMX and a flash in P5.
3 papayas in a row because of the papaya orange color in reference to McLaren's traditional colors here. But Alif then looking very good here for the final championship, a podium at last in this round at least, to actually just secure a buffer for the final round of championship. And Jason then will try to follow suit here because for the team's championship, this might actually clinch it for them.
It certainly might, and Fadli Rakhmat is suddenly under intense pressure. He is the meat in the sandwich between Alif Hamilton and Jason Tay. There is the view that Jason Tay has of the rear end of Fadli Rakhmat. We are on the penultimate lap. There will be this lap plus 1 more. Nakib, massive lead ahead of Troy Iman. It's a good day for Stratos. Even, as you say, even if it's the sisters. Alif leads Fadli, who leads Jason Tay. This is the battle for P3 that we are on board with.
And team orders might come to play if both of them were to be together again, which is almost inevitable because Fadli just seems to be struggling right now. And Jason, once Jason gets by, is 3rd and 4th, Jason might actually have to hold station because they have to think about the championship for Alif, and that is probably exactly what they're thinking right now. Coming up to the final minute. In fact, we're underneath a minute to go. So the next time by will be the final lap of this round. And Nakib Aslan looking good for the win here, despite a potential penalty coming his way post-race.
Very, very quickly, Kalen Chin has moved into a position where he can challenge Mika Hakimi on his finals lap. So Kalen, who won race 1, is looking to get a P6 in race number 2, and he will have DRS over the RSG driver. Acronym City.
And in fact, that Mika's not doing any favors for Ayman at all, actually, in terms of actually helping him out. They were actually nose to tail at one point. Ayman had DRS. He could have overtaken Mika if Mika gave away, but Mika has now costed them 2 positions in essence because Kalen has jumped both of them now to 6th place.
So Kalen Chin, really good day at the office for him. As Fadli Rakhmat in P4 under pressure from Jason Tay. Now Fadli just tried to defend. There's double contact there. Fadli, it's Fadli who's knocked out and off his stride.
Puncture.
And Jason Tay's got ahead of Alif.
Because it's the puncture for Alif. And whoa, Jason, is that Alif spinning? It is. Alif has spun. He's actually gotten a puncture. Wow. What an absolutely turn up for the books as Nakib comes around the final corner here to take victory in race 2.
Nakib Aslan takes the victory. Troy Ayman P2. Jason Tay, a great result for him ahead of Fadli Rakhmat in P4. But Alif Hamilton, will he stagger over the line? There is the answer. Stagger.
Whoa.
Oh, can he hold on?
Oh no, he spun it. He's actually dropped it. Nakib will now can't believe his luck. He'll be counting his lucky stars here that he's not only gotten the race win, but not the fastest lap, unfortunately, but Alif is actually dropping points as we speak due to a puncture, possibly from the fight with himself and Fadli.
Right, there's a discussion for Alex Young to talk to Nakib Aslan about racing. Never make a prediction.
Wow, so we have to have a quick chat with Nakib Aslan. Nakib, well, you're going to have to talk us through that race. You had that contact with Inigo as well, but after that contact, it seemed to go pretty well for you.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened there. I think I have to look back the replay, but overall, that race was mega. Yeah, it's just one of those weekends where you come in with real full confidence. I gotta give credits to James for this. You know, he put in a lot of time with us, and as well my other teammates, Troy, Nabil, and Arif. We put in a lot of effort for this one, and it showed, you know, with me and Troy getting the double podium and the 1-2, and the pace looked really good throughout race 1 and 2. Could have got the win in 1, but decided to play it safe, and yeah, that was one hell of a race.
Okay, you're talking about James Russell, your team manager and team owner. You also be looking down that leaderboard. You can see the leaderboard on the screen right now. Alif had a puncher on the last lap of the race.
Oh, really?
So what's that going to do for your championship?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what impact that has on the championship after you guys decide to drop a single round. But congratulations, Nakib. Very good drive. I can see that means a lot to you.
No worries. Yeah.
Des, walk us through the final order, please.
Yeah, confirmation. Another podium for Jason Tay, P3. Troy Ayman, his best result of the season, P2 for him. It was won by, thank you, Amo, as he gives me the stuff. It was won by Kalen Chin. Arwin Tarunya also not too far away. Fadli Rakhmat, sorry, in P4. Kalen Chin adding a P5 to his earlier victory. So great stuff there, and it could make the final tables very, very interesting. Amo, great job. Well done. I enjoyed that.
All right, so up next we have a short commercial break, but do not go anywhere because this is where the drivers are going to be deciding which rounds they will drop. And after that performance by Alif Hamilton, who's been super consistent so far, we're really going to have to see a bit of a shake-up. So you're not going to want to go anywhere, and we'll show you how that pans out in the overall Drivers' Championship. Before we go for a quick break, we always hear about the term DRS, drag reduction system. It helps our drivers overtake. So let's find out a little bit more about this nifty little tool that the drivers use.
DRS basically stands for drag reduction system. When certain conditions are met, drivers are able to just press a button and then the wing opens up and reduces their downforce. So when the downforce is reduced, the drag is also reduced. So it gives you a higher top speed.
DRS system is amazing.
It promotes overtaking.
You can use the DRS almost everywhere.
They put it in just to have a bit closer racing.
It needs to be now or never.
Can he use his DRS to catch up to Alif Hamilton as well? And look at that, he's closing the gap to the leader as well.
So this is the longest straight here on the Shanghai circuit. I'm going to take a look at the top speed here without DRS open. It's about 3:15. So I'm going to press DRS once I'm out of this corner. It's red. And look, we already passed 3:15, 3:20.
So the advantage, obviously, when you're following car in front of you and you have a higher top speed, you can catch up to him really easily.
It pretty much follows the DTM 2016, where you have 3 DRS in a lap.
And then each time you have to be within 1 second range between your car and the car in front of you. Drivers sometimes forget that they're on DRS mode and therefore they have less downforce than they normally do, and then ended up spinning the car.
Cars are going all over the place. Everyone's going all over the place.
Not fun when you're in front and you're allowing the car behind you to have DRS.
Sometimes it might make the overtakes a little bit too easy.
To me, it's still a bit of a gimmick. In the racetrack particularly, there's only some straights that you can fully utilize the DRS zones. So drivers normally would know what to do in that situations. As an engineer, I fully trust my drivers.
I like the idea of celebrity drivers on EGG.
We've sprinkled our high-performing grid with a little bit of fun.
The EGG drivers are so entertaining, great to watch.
Hi, my name is William Choi.
I'm Leona Chin, Malaysian motorsports athlete, YouTuber, and also a casual streamer.
Whelan Choi, that familiar face, grace our grid every single week.
I start driving at 11, I think. So my dad teach me how to drive in the empty lane. Then after that, join a 4x4 team. I follow my auntie. We drive a Triton all the way to Cambodia. Then drive back in 3 days. After so many years, I a bit off with cars because I don't have the chance to touch it. After that, I get a Hilux. I started the YouTube channel. The first day, we upload the video around 200k view. So I do one more video, 6 hour, 800k view. Man, this is the thing. Okay, keep it on. So until today. And then Jason told me, hey, Alex, you have a race called E1. Want to join? Not bad, I can join.
As for Leona Chin, she drives a damn sight better than I do. She's obviously a drifting queen. We know all about that.
The passion for motorsport started when I was 16 years old because of a group of friends, mostly guys. They would mostly play car games and also go for car shows. So that sparked my interest into cars. 2 years ago, I got approached by Alex Young. He was having a new championship coming up. He wants a girl to join in the race to show those can drive as well. I was really excited. It's a great way to learn from the top of the sim racing drivers. So that's why I joined E1 Championship. Season 0 was more of a fun thing. I took it as really like a training ground.
That kind of, you die, I die lah, that kind of thinking. So I jump in, I drive on it.
This round, Season 1, they are more aggressive.
I saw their level. Wow, I really need to practice hard.
I'm really slow in the race, but I try my best to practice.
Overall, you have to one level up to keep up with them because they keep going. If you stay there, you're getting lower.
Hopefully we'll see some more celebrity drivers come and join the fun as well. We need to pick celebrity drivers that can be quick and can race with these drivers.
I love Team EGG. They just sprinkle a little bit of fun when maybe the front runners are very, very serious, and rightly so. I mean, they've got a lot of prize money on the line. So great to see these guys having, or guys and girls, Whelan and Leona, just being very happy to finish all the races. But it's interesting because even with them, we're seeing them improve so much every single race. Whelan Choi, we have put a spotlight on him earlier on in the season. He's been putting in so many hours behind the steering wheel, and he's been more and more in the points as each race goes by. Yeah,
he is. He's improving a lot, so it's good to see. Be nice. There are actually quite a few celebrities that like to do these racing programs and stuff. And they've really enjoyed doing it. Like Whelan's been, like you said, improving a lot because you get to race against the best of the best. So it's a measuring yardstick. And to really improve, you need good competition. If you just go around and race by yourself or with a poor competition, you don't really improve.
That's right. And speaking of improvements, we saw some drivers in race 2 that just wrapped up here at the Hungaroring in Hungary. We saw a real mix-up in the midfield, even on the podium positions. There's a lot to unpack there. Let's go and speak to some of the drivers from race 2. Let's start with Troy Ayman of Scuderia Stratos. Troy, you've got the green back on the podium. You were just behind your sort of teammate, Nakib Aslan. You must be happy with that comeback to be on the podium. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, well, where can I start? It was a crazy race because race 2, I had a chance to start on P4, and that gave me a chance to fight for pole, but I got caught up in the incidents in the first 2 laps, and that dropped me back down all the way to P10, so it wasn't ideal, but I managed to fight my way up to P2. So thanks to the strategies that James has come up with during the practice, and it helped me to get up to P2.
So walk us through a bit of that argy-bargy that walked on for some of the viewers that may have missed it, because there was a lot going on. There were points where you guys were 4 or 5 wide. It looked like a MotoGP race. Do you recall those key moments in those battles?
Yeah, I do recall some of the key moments. I remember I was stuck in between a lot of cars, and I had nowhere to go, and that just pushed me off into the side. And yeah, that was probably what happened.
Well, it was great to see you back on the podium. We'll find out very shortly what will happen after the drop points and where you'll be on the championship. But we look forward to seeing you in the final round in Germany. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed Troy, because Troy was very quiet. We've seen him finish on the podium before in Season 0, but he's been very quiet this season. Season 1, we haven't seen him at all. So to see him up there, and he was quick, he had pure pace, so he deserves that position. So great to see him with his first podium of the year.
He does. It's a very, very strong comeback. Definitely great to see. Let's see if he can keep it up. We know that, just as he said, the strategy from Team Stratos team manager James Russell really coming into play, and I'm sure with the similar track layout for the final round in Germany, that's going to come into play as well. Now, one team that has been consistently improving with their qualifying performance, their setups and their race performances is Team JMX Phantom. One driver in particular, Fadli Rahman. Alex, let's see if we can go and speak to him.
So we just speak with Fadli right now. Fadli, that was a dramatic race. We thought you were on for the win. Didn't quite have the pace. What happened in the race?
I think pace-wise, we didn't have. We're not as quick as Nakib, obviously. So I tried to stay behind him and get the DRS consistently. But I think he carried more fuel, so he had less pit stop time. So when I lost touch with him, couldn't keep up.
Yeah, because you could see that perhaps your setup wasn't quite as good as the Stratos cars, because you could just about hang on to Nakib, but didn't quite have the pace there. But you were hanging on there, looked good for a podium. Troy got past you, and then the incidents with the flash cars. Can you talk us through the last 3 laps? What happened?
I think it was a misjudgment from both me and maybe Alif also. I kind of wanted to start back in line, but I didn't expect him to not go so early. Maybe he was expecting me to go on the outside.
Right. So that small contact gave Alif the puncture.
Yeah.
And you ended up P4, wasn't it? P3.
Yep, P4 behind Jason.
P4 behind Jason. Well done. Congratulations. And one more round to go. So good luck for round 8.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for one more interview. Let's go and speak to Team Flash. We can't wrap up these interviews without talking about our tentative championship leader. Let's go and speak to Alif Hamilton. Hey, Alif. So you've had a very consistent season so far. We've mentioned you've had a majority of wins of all the races you've entered in Season 1, but Race 2 just seemed to fall away from you. There was a spin. Walk us through what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just a bit too eager on the trying to overtake. I think it was Fadli. It was first few laps. Yeah, I mean, overall for me, it was just all over the place. I mean, yeah, so I will just chin up and try to work harder for the next round.
So a couple of risky moves there, kind of aggressive, just as you were saying. Are you thinking about the championship actively when you drive like that, or do you feel confident enough in your lead to maybe try a couple of moves that might be a bit more daring?
I mean, the way I'm built or the way I'm designed is I don't really think about too far ahead on the future. Try to keep it one race at a time, and I mean, yeah, ideally if you think about it now, it was a dumb move to make from my part, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and yeah, now it's gonna be the double points in Nürburgring, which is gonna be very, very tough.
Have you calculated the potential championship points so far? Is your team manager working out every single position that each driver's in and where you have to be next round to win the championship?
Not quite. I mean, you guys could help me if you can, but yeah, no, I haven't really thought about that. But
yeah, he looks really tense.
We'll see, man. I mean, it's double points. Anything can happen. 110 points, I think, to get if you absolutely dominate the next round, and Nakib could easily get that. You know, like you said, like you saw today. So I'll just try to do my best and try to just keep up with him.
Yeah.
All right, well, best of luck. We'll see you in 1 week in Germany.
Yeah.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
He's a cool customer, isn't he? I mean, Alif is always about one race at a time, and that's why he's had his success. Doesn't look too far ahead. But you could tell Alif was quite annoyed that he's already thinking about the permutations for the next race because he's allowed Nakib into a small gap, and we should see those standings soon, shouldn't we?
Yep, that's right. Every driver's going to say that they're calm, cool, collected, but I know they're lying. I know deep down on the inside, they know that every single point counts because they're going to be thinking about the championship. That's all they're going to be thinking about. So before we get to the championship standings, before we get to the drop points, let's go and take a look at the race 2 highlights in Hungary.
Okay, so race 2 got the 2 ERGP cars, the red cars in the front. Didn't get a great start though, and it was like 4 wide through turn 1. And it was in fact Inigo Anton, GT Radio Eurasia car, that held onto the lead, just holding off Fadli Rahmat. But Rahmat then got around the outside. Anton was struggling with the hard tyre in the early stint while everyone else was on the soft tyre. And then this Nakib hit Inigo Anton off, and we've yet to see whether he'll get a penalty for that. And then this great battle between the 2 Flash cars and Fadli Rahmat in the JMX Phantom car. This would go on to the end until Alif would get a puncture. But back at the front, Nakib Aslan would win from Scuderia Stratos' sister team, Troy Iman.
Let's take a look at the results from race 2, the race that we just saw on screen. Nakib Aslan there in P1. Again, not bagging the fastest lap. Troy Iman, great to see him back on the podium. The sister team to Stratos Motorsports, Scuderia Stratos, followed by Jason Tay. He's a driver that has really stepped up his game. He knows that he's been in the shadows sometime of his teammate leading the championship, but he's really given him a run for his money with Fadli Rahmat right behind him as well. And Kalen Chin, our race 1 winner, rounding out the top 5. Next, let's take a look at the overall results. This is a combination of qualifying, race 1 and race 2, and it's Nakib Aslan back on the top step. He's got a lead of about 7 points, and he's going to need every single one of those points to contribute towards his overall championship fight. We'll see what those drop points look like later. Kalen Chin, again, in the top 3 steps of the podium, followed by Jason Tay. I believe this is his first top 3 finish at the end of a round, followed by Troy Iman and Fadli Rahmat in the top 5. So, up next, we have drop points. Alex, is this just a case of simple maths, or is there any more strategy behind it?
Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to show you the standings now with the drop points on. But of course, we don't know. We're also going through the protests. So we'll have to tune in tomorrow, I think, to find out what the actual positions were, because 1 or 2 drivers might get some protests. But we are going to show you the standings with the drop points. So Alif is going to drop points from this round for sure, because he only got 18 points. That's the lowest points he's got from any round this year. I think the gap will close down. I think maybe Nakib might only be off 40 points, 50 points off Alif. With 115 points to play for in round 8, means it's still a lot to play for between the two of them. Alif has to be on it for the last round. For the team's championship, though, I think Flash is looking really good.
All right, I think we're ready to look at the before and after of the overall championship points so far from round 1 through to round 7. We're going to take a look at the results before, and then we're going to look at the results after the drop points. So here is our top 10 driver standings before the drop points. That's Alif Hamilton in P1, as expected, with 280 points. But look at that gap. It's a narrowing gap by Nakib Aslan, our Season 0 championship winner. He's catching up, and after the drop points, I think we're going to see that delta decrease even more. Ayman Akeem, he's going to be really happy with a P3, but he's going to know that he probably should be a little bit closer to P2 had he not been making those mistakes early on in the season. Kalen Chin, very happy with that P4. He was saying earlier on, he knows that there's prize money at stake, and he's just earned himself an extra $1,000 US by getting a little bit higher in the overall championship standings. So here's a look at our top 10. Let's shift the order up a little bit. Let's drop some points.
So after you drop the points, look how close that gap is there. That's 40 points. No, sorry, 30 points between the front two. 29 points exactly. So 29 points between the front two means it's all to play for. That's going to be an extremely intense race round 8. That's I tell you this because don't forget, Alif will have 15 kilos of success ballast. Naqib Aslan have 14 kilos of success ballast in round 8, so it's going to be super close this. And of course, a bit further back, that fight for 3rd position. Look at that, Ayman Hakim, Kalen Chin, Jason Tay, and you can't discount Josh Perwin, Mikko Nassi, or Inigo Anton, or Fadli Rahmat. Actually, anywhere there between 3 to 10 can finish, is fighting for that 3rd position in that championship. So we are in for a super exciting round 8, I feel.
That's right, we're going to have 2 very distinct battles when we go into the grand finale next week at 9 p.m. on the EGG network. We're going to be racing at the Nürburgring in Germany. It's a very technical track. It's very similar to Hungary and the Hungaroring, the track we just raced at, a little bit more complicated. Alex, walk us through this stellar circuit.
Okay, so we're running on the Grand Prix track. Actually, it's kind of a typical Formula 1 track, 5.1 kilometers there. There's a very technical Sector 1 with very, very slow corners. And then the rest of the track is pretty typical. You've got the Dunlop corner, the long hairpin, then the Schumacher S's. So it's a track steeped in history. And of course, don't forget, double points.
I just want to bring it to that opening section there. Those opening few corners are so incredibly hard. If any of you have the opportunity to drive a racing sim, put on the Nürburgring, and just try and get through there as fast as you can. There's a lot of turning, a lot of braking while almost turning, and you're gonna almost spin. So try it out, it's very, very difficult. What's gonna make this championship even more difficult, of course, is the double points. As we just discussed, it means that it's anybody's fight for the championship, for P2, for P3, for P4, for P5. So that is $15,000 up for grabs to anybody in the top 10. I think that's really, really exciting, Alex.
Yeah, super
All right.
exciting.
Before we wrap up, let's go and take a look at the top 5 drivers in the championship and the top 5 teams in the championship. Here is a look at our top 5 drivers, and it's Alif Hamilton, the usual suspect, in first, but this time without his usual comfortable margin. There's only about 29 points between him and Naqib Aslan. Naqib is really going to be pushing in the next week, practicing, going round and round the Nürburgring to make sure that he can close that gap from qualifying through to race 2. Ayman Hakim as well, he's going to be making sure that he's not going to be making as many mistakes as he had in the last few rounds, because he knows that another $1,000 is up for grabs, and another $1,000 is up for losing to Kalen Chin, who's in P4, and very close behind him is Jason Tay. Next, let's take a look at the team championship standings. Team Flash, slightly more comfortable in the lead in comparison to the Drivers' Championship, but still, never say never. We know that that brotherly duo of Naqib and Nabil Aslan at Stratos Motorsports can get up to some incredible things, and I think that the Nürburgring may be a track that they're very strong on. Team RSG as well. We know that these drivers can consistently put it on the podium. We know that Mika Hakimi has been incredibly fast, incredibly great at overtaking, and he's going to repeat that, especially when he knows that double points are on offer. JMX Phantom in P4 and Black Wolf Racing in P5. All right, so Nürburgring next week. Predictions?
I think it's going to be a very hairy race. The Naqib Alif battle is what we're all interested in, because Naqib's actually in ERGP race in the global edition we had last year, he lost to Naqib. Naqib lost to Alif. All 3 championships they contested together, just by 1 point, 2 points. They were tied on points in one of them, but Naqib's never beaten Alif. So he's going to be very focused, but Alif obviously is going to go into that final as the favorite, and they're going to be doing a lot of practice over this next week.
A lot of practice. Very quickly, I'm going to take it over to Des and Amo. Just give me your top 3 predictions for next week. Give it the commentator's curse.
I'm not going to give you a prediction, but what I'm going to say that even if Alif Hamilton gets a 2nd and a 3rd next week, if Naqib wins both, the double points means Naqib would be champion.
Wow.
Amo, you want to give it a prediction?
I'll go what Des says, actually, because I don't want to become that kind of person that makes the prediction and it goes horribly wrong. So I will just go with the old steady hand that he gives, the word of wisdom. So yeah, I'll go with that. We just want the championship to be as dramatic as possible at the very last.
That's right. Well, predictions and the commentator's curse are part of our privilege of being here in the commentary box. But that's all we have for tonight, folks. Don't forget, the grand finale of E1 Championship Season 1 happens next week on the EGG Network, same time, same place, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages as well. That's the E1 Championship and the EGG Network on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Daniel Woodruff. Thank you to Alex, to Des, and to Amo in the studio with us. We will see you next week. Thank you and stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Good night.